Our farm produces 10,000 heads of lettuce a day in Japan. This is a moneymaker. With half an acre of ground, one might be able to make $2.66 million in a year. Here are my figures. We'll discuss them later. The Japanese are producing 10,000 heads of lettuce indoors in the world's largest hydroponic farm. It's too bad that the Japanese innovated this idea before the Americans. Maybe it's the overtaxation and overspending by our so-called representatives that makes America lag behind, and maybe it's the overprinting of the currency by the Federal Reserve, which, by the way, isn't federal and there isn't any reserve. This group of private bankers took all the gold from Fort Knox many years ago for safekeeping, which means they spent it all. That was our gold, and they had no right to take it for themselves. Who authorized this? Someone should go to jail. We need cameras on all those in government, 24 hours a day to watch everything they do. And who is being surveilled? We the people. That's who. We are not the drug dealers and the money launderers. They are. They are the terrorists too. And they need a finger up their ass when they board an airplane. This nonsense continues because you are not doing anything about it. Complain, people. Record your voice and put it up on YouTube with some images attached. It's not that hard to do. I've done nearly 800 videos for YouTube. If I can do it, any moron can do it. Wait, what did I say? Any idiot can do it. You know what I mean. This isn't 1776, so raising arms against tyrants will only get you killed today. Be smart and pick up the weapon of choice today, the microphone, and let them have it. We need to let everyone know that we don't approve of our government holding us back. This innovation should be American, not Japanese. The Chinese are buying nearly 100% of the bitcoins, and the Japanese are leading the way in the hydroponic production of food. Americans aren't buying any bitcoins. Just go to fiatleak.com and you'll see what I mean. The last time I was there, I watched until 100.3 bitcoins had been traded. China did 100 of the 100.3, and Americans did 0.3. I thought, wow, we're getting our asses kicked by the Chinese. Then I look at this hydroponic farm and I see the Japanese kicking our asses too. America used to be a place you were proud to be from before the Nazis, the fascists, the parasites, and the war criminals gained a stronghold here. I drove past 2 major shopping centers in Phoenix, both completely vacant. Food can be grown there. Every 25,000 square feet could be another $2.66 million annually for the owners of these shopping centers if they weren't parasitic-minded, blood-sucking leeches who sit on wealth and never do anything creative with it. Why let this space go to waste? I'd make haste and put this property to use and not let it waste. Parking lots could be used for buyers of this produce. Instead, the buildings sit vacant. In this depression, we have seen many commercial buildings go vacant, so we have the space to grow things. We are in the northern hemisphere, and that means winter months are the end of December, all of January and February, and most of March. Does that mean that we can't grow anything for these months? And we have to order food from other countries? Tomatoes and peppers can grow indoors. I know because I have grown both indoors recently. On my outdoor pepper plant, I picked 8 more peppers. In my videos, I said that there are 14 peppers per plant, and this is not correct. I've taken at least 20 peppers from this one plant, and it's in a pot on the back deck. It's November, and I have a huge watermelon that will be ripe soon. Several cantaloupe also. I'm not an expert at growing things, but I can't throw away the seeds in melons. Each seed that I save can give me fruits or vegetables. You should collect seeds too. And if you don't have the space to plant them, sell them on Craigslist. Just take a digital photo of the fruit or vegetable prior to eating it. Put a number on the seed package and the same number on the photo of the melon. I presume that your camera is digital and the photo is stored on your computer. You can upload the image to Craigslist and offer the seeds to anyone in the world. Ask for a self-addressed stamped envelope and 10 cents for each seed. The seeds from just one melon that I ate are worth $68.40, and I only paid $1.31 for that melon. Teach kids to make money by offering seeds. and let them set up the system for matching the image to the seed package. If someone sends the kid $1, he or she counts out 10 seeds, puts them into a self-addressed stamped envelope that the customer sent, and drops it in the mail. You can put the seeds in a clear plastic bag from the grocery store. We throw these bags away, and this is not necessary. You can also use junk mail to wrap up seeds into a small package. Kids need to learn about business early. If you have space, have them plant the seeds when the weather is right, and their 10 cents will grow to $1 in a month. Let me restate that. Each seed will produce $1 in a month. Now that melon is worth $684 instead of just $68. Seeds grow in value about 10,000% in a month. A month, not a year, each month. A youngster can retire when he's 10. If you teach him how to grow money at the rate of 10,000% per month, he can spend all his time playing video games, and when his hormones kick in, he can learn how to pick up chicks like I did when I was in my teens. Late teens. Actually, I was 40. I'm just kidding. If you don't know how to grow money, then teach yourself first. Save the seeds from that melon and market them on Craigslist. Nobody is doing this. Look in Craigslist under Farm and Garden, Things for Sale. Now let me tell you what the Japanese did that was so innovative. A year ago, the project was started by an expert in plant physiology. Let me give you today's date. November 19th, 2014. It's the day my father died. So a year ago, the project was started by an expert in plant physiology. He knew all about how to grow things, but he didn't have anything to grow on a large scale, so he partnered up with GE Japan. This is one of those companies that's owned by the slave masters who own almost everything in the world. They want total control over our food, and they're playing this plant physiologist like he's a banjo or something. I would use GE Japan as a last resort because I always try to avoid those who have enslaved us, and GE is one of those companies, I think. To me, this is like using Monsanto. It would have been much cooler if he had crowdfunded it. So if you're an American hearing my voice and you don't have the capital to start this indoor hydroponic venture, build up a following so you can crowdfund it, and we'll kick Japan's butt and buy all the bitcoins, thereby kicking China's butt too. Then we'll kick out everybody in Washington, fire the president, call up the Federal Reserve, tell them to pack their shit, and tell them all that we won't be needing their services ever again. We'll take back our country through indoor hydroponic gardening, Bitcoin, and crowdfunding. How do you like my plan? All right then. They use just 1% of the water used by outdoor farming. And they have tight controls over temperature, humidity, and irrigation. I did an estimate of the electricity costs for this 25,000 square foot building and came up with $1,700 a month. And so I rounded it off to $3,000 per month to be sure that I'm not way off. If electricity costs are less, then that adds to my estimate of profit. I figured that each square foot of commercial building is worth about $1 per month. If you rent 25,000 square feet of space, I doubt that the landlord would make you pay $25,000 monthly, and so my estimate is an overestimate. By the way, the square root of 25,000 is about 158 or 159. That means if a building was a little over 158 feet long and 158 feet wide, the area would be 25,000 square feet. It's half an acre, or approximately half of a football field. When the boss isn't around, you grab a head of lettuce and play some football. Here's a Google SketchUp image of this measure. You can walk from one end to the other in about 2 minutes. If you like to take an hour-long walk, you won't be able to do it here. You can walk from one end to the other and back in less than 5 minutes. You would have to do that 12 times in order to make it an hour-long walk. This is not much space, but one can make $2.66 million net profit annually here in this half acre. That's enough to pay for the cost of construction of a building this size in just 1 year. These commercial buildings cost about $100 per square foot to put up. I'm talking tilt up. In my lavish budget, I figured on 10 people to work this half acre, and that's ridiculous. But we need a football team, you know. Can. One farmhand can tend to an acre all by himself. That's how an acre became an acre, you know. It's the amount of land that each serf can work by himself, in case you're wondering where we got that unit of measure. The knights fight the battles and the serfs work to produce food on the land. It's the rights of the vassals to control the slaves who work the fields with their hands. Nothing has changed. It's the same feudal system today. Take a close look at the structure. Tell me if I'm wrong. The acre is a quota. It's the amount of land a serf could work all by himself. In other countries, they use the hectare, and I have no idea where that unit of measure came from. It might be the amount of land a modern farmer can service with today's equipment like tractor plows and gasoline-powered combines. I budgeted 10 employees and a lavish salary of $5,000 per month each so that I could be sure to have enough money to pay all the employees, and still I came up with $2.66 million annually in profit. A farmer could pay cash for the land and put up a new building each year with the money he can make from this enterprise. But he has to pick locations that are near large populations so that people will buy what he produces. Offer very low prices to kick off the habit of people shopping with you. If you grow tomatoes, for example, 10 cents a pound is a good price. You have no transportation cost when people come to you. How many grown-ups will tell their parents about this special? How many parents will tell their kids and relatives about the bonanza? In one season, everyone in town will know about your business, and the following year you can double the price or quadruple it, and you still have customers because by then the habit is formed. If you charged half of what grocery stores charge, you'd make more profit than they do, because 90% of their cost is transportation costs. They're bringing in this produce from far away, and you're growing it locally. The grocery stores can't compete, and so they will either have to join you in growing locally or go out of business once you begin growing indoors like the Japanese. Look at the image. They stack the lettuce rows 15 high, and if I were to guess, I'd say they're spaced about 14 inches to 16 inches apart. My estimate of height is 225 inches. I multiplied 15 by 15, and 15 squared is 225. That's less than 20 feet high. Many commercial buildings could accommodate this system. But if your building is shorter, then go with what you have. Stores have a ceiling that drops down low. Remove it, and you find a higher ceiling in which to grow. Put in your LED lights, and you're ready to sow. All you need is for someone to do the countdown, 1, 2, 3, go. I've done all I can. I can't help you, no mo. This is a great business for making dough. Plant your lettuce, tomatoes, and peppers, and get on with the show. The Japanese have seen production indoors go to 100 times that of outdoor farming, so pay attention to what the Japanese entrepreneurs are doing. They used to copy us. Now we better copy them, or we're going to see Japanese hydroponic farms all over the USA, and the profits will be taken from us and sent back to Japan, where they will be spent. America is going to take it in the shorts again. We don't want to see foreigners come here, innovate good ideas, and go home with our cash. We're already slaves to the parasitic class. They take everything from us and leave us so poor that we can't even buy toilet paper. We need to kick out the Federal Reserve and stop the inflation caused by their printing of the nation's currency. Stop the theft of gold, too. America needs to innovate like they are doing in Japan. Instead, we have higher prices and fixed incomes because the Federal Reserve says we need more inflation. Why do old people on fixed incomes need higher prices? Who is the Fed kidding? They increased the money supply from $800 billion to $7 trillion. And what is the reason for doing this? This robs us of 90% of our money by counterfeiting, and we're going to see much higher prices in the future. People will be blaming the stores for the higher prices. We desperately need to end the Fed and clean out Washington. We don't need any representatives because they're all a bunch of crooks who are enjoying high salaries, huge expense accounts, all paid for by us, and then on top of that, they don't represent us. They sell their influence to the highest bidder and vote not as our representatives, but as the lobbyists who pay them tell them to vote. And the legislation is written by the companies who hire the lobbyists. That's why we're getting our asses kicked by the Japanese and the Chinese. If you can't see the destruction of the economy by this representative government, then you're not observing the facts, and you're not facing the truth. The representative system is destroying America. America needs to change. Change is what the people want and need, and look what we got instead. If Obama is change, then why is everything still the same? We have Democratic cockroaches and Republican cockroaches, and you go to the polls to vote. Who do you vote for? You don't vote the cockroaches out of office by electing more cockroaches, you know? If you vote for a cockroach, you're going to get a cockroach, and this doesn't solve the cockroach problem. I will now read the short article because I have made it clear what America should do and why. A former Sony Corporation semiconductor factory in Japan has been converted into the world's largest indoor farm. Japanese plant physiologist Shigeharu Shimamura, CEO of Mirai Company or Corporation, partnered with GE Japan to make his dream of a water, space, and energy-efficient indoor farming system a reality. Despite having only started production a year ago, the farm is already shipping out 10,000 heads of lettuce per day. The farm is located in Miyagi Prefecture in eastern Japan, the area that was badly hit by a powerful earthquake and tsunami in 2011. Ooh, just what I want, radioactive lettuce. I've been looking for some. You can't find it anywhere. Actually, you can find it everywhere. At 25,000 square feet, it is nearly half the size of a football field. Not true. This is more than half. Let me explain. A football field is about an acre, and an acre is 43,560 square feet. Half of that would be somewhere in the neighborhood of 21,000 square feet. A football field is 150 feet wide, that's 50 yards wide. It's 100 yards long, which is 300 feet. And 300 times 150 is 45,000 square feet. An acre is 43,560. So an acre is smaller than a football field. If you double 25,000 square feet, you get 50,000 square feet. And so when they say it's nearly half, they mean just over half of an acre. At 25,000 square feet, it is nearly half the size of a football field. Well, that's not correct. The football field is 45,000 square feet, and 25,000 doubled is 50,000. So it's more than half the size of a football field. Anyway, and 17,500 LED lights spread over 18 cultivation racks, reaching 15 levels high, are a key to the farm's success. So they're cramming in a whole lot of garden in a little amount of space because they're going 15 stories high. Each story is about 15 inches. The LEDs were developed for the project by GE and emit light at wavelengths optimal for plant growth. That's the hue that you see in the photo. Take another look at it. Allowing Shimamura to control the night and day cycle and accelerate production. So he's tricking these plants into thinking that another day has passed, and they're saying, oh my God, we better hurry up and grow because we're late. By controlling temperature, humidity, and irrigation, the farm can also cut its water usage to just 1% of the amount needed by conventional outdoor farming. And this is one reason why we have to switch to indoor farming, because about half, at least half, of the water we use in America is for agriculture. At least half. Then there's a quote. It says, quote, what we need to do is not just setting up more days and nights. We want to achieve the best combination of photosynthesis during the day and breathing at night by controlling the lighting and the environment. That's the end of the quote. Says Shimamura. I knew that plants need a certain amount of dark hours, that there were reactions that took place and they needed that. And he's saying that they are breathing at night. Plants make oxygen in the daytime and they use up carbon dioxide, but at night they compete with us. They use oxygen and give off carbon dioxide just like we do. But in the daytime there's a benefit. We breathe in their oxygen and they breathe in our carbon dioxide. Now he says that they're breathing at night, which means they need that night cycle, that dark cycle, in order to have some chemical reactions. I'd like to know more about that. That's an interesting topic for me. Next sentence. The systems, he has more than one system. The systems allow the farm to grow nutrient-rich lettuce 2.5 times faster than an outdoor farm. That is amazing. That means you can make even more money. Wasted produce is also reduced from around 50% down to just 10% of the crop. And that's because they play football with the lettuce. I told you they were playing football when the boss was not looking. And they waste 10% of that lettuce by throwing it around as a football. Just kidding. This means a 100-fold increase in production per square foot, and the implied rest of that sentence is over conventional outdoor farming. 100 times more productivity per square foot. This is amazing. The LEDs also last longer than fluorescent lights and consume 40% less power. Now you would think a company like GE would be ramming energy down our throats, but I guess not. Of the successful partnership, Shimamura adds, quote, "I knew how to grow good vegetables biologically, and I wanted to integrate that knowledge with hardware to make some things happen," unquote. The GE Japan team is convinced that indoor farms like the one in the Miyagi Prefecture could be a key to solving world food shortages. The project partners are already working on similar indoor farms in Hong Kong and the far east of Russia, like Vladivostok. And then they have a couple of links if you want to go to the page. I'll give you the link in the video description so you can go there and read this article and many others, because Inhabitat has thousands of articles that are interesting to people with a scientific mind. And that's the end of this video. I do appreciate your listening to this very interesting topic of growing food indoors and making big bucks. Bye! The world's largest indoor farm produces 10,000 heads of lettuce a day in Japan. This is a moneymaker. With half an acre of ground, one might be able to make $2.66 million in a year. Here are my figures. We'll discuss them later. The Japanese are producing 10,000 heads of lettuce indoors in the world's largest hydroponic farm. It's too bad that the Japanese innovated this idea before the Americans. Maybe it's the overtaxation and overspending by our so-called representatives that makes America lag behind, and maybe it's the overprinting of the currency by the Federal Reserve, which, by the way, isn't federal and there isn't any reserve. This group of private bankers took all the gold from Fort Knox many years ago for safekeeping, which means they spent it all. That was our gold, and they had no right to take it for themselves. Who authorized this? Someone should go to jail. We need cameras on all those in government, 24 hours a day, to watch everything they do. And who is being surveilled? We the people. That's who. We are not the drug dealers and the money launderers. They are. They are the terrorists too. And they need a finger up their ass when they board an airplane. This nonsense continues because you are not doing anything about it. Complain, people. Record your voice and put it up on YouTube with some images attached. It's not that hard to do. I've done nearly 800 videos for YouTube. If I can do it, any moron can do it. Wait, what did I say? Any idiot can do it. You know what I mean. This isn't 1776, so raising arms against tyrants will only get you killed today. Be smart and pick up the weapon of choice today, the microphone, and let them have it. We need to let everyone know that we don't approve of our government holding us back. This innovation should be American, not Japanese. The Chinese are buying nearly 100% of the bitcoins, and the Japanese are leading the way in the hydroponic production of food. Americans aren't buying any bitcoins. Just go to fiatleak.com and you'll see what I mean. The last time I was there, I watched until 100.3 bitcoins had been traded. China did 100 of the 100.3, and Americans did 0.3. I thought, wow, we're getting our asses kicked by the Chinese. Then I look at this hydroponic farm and I see the Japanese kicking our asses too. America used to be a place you were proud to be from before the Nazis, the fascists, the parasites, and the war criminals gained a stronghold here. I drove past 2 major shopping centers in Phoenix, both completely vacant. Food can be grown there. Every 25,000 square feet could be another $2.66 million annually for the owners